Take that off. What are you?
Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
Robert Downey Jr. is an American actor, producer, and singer who has starred in many Hollywood box office hits, most notable of which is his roles in successful Marvel franchises like Iron Man and the Avengers. His career has included critical and popular success in his youth, followed by a period of substance abuse and legal troubles, and a resurgence of commercial success in his midlife. Today, Robert Downey Jr. is regarded as one of the famous and highest paid actors in the world. For 3 consecutive years from 2012 to 2015, Downey topped the Forbes list of Hollywood's highest paid actors, making an estimated $80 million per year. As of 2021, his total net worth is estimated to be a staggering $300 million. It will take you more than 5,000 years earning the average American income to match that. Needless to say, Robert Downey Jr. is crazy rich. Robert Downey's lifestyle is a perfect reflection of his net worth. For example, he owns a $9.5 million mansion in Malibu, California, and his Acura TSX, which is considered as one of the most expensive cars in the world, is worth an astonishing $9 million. So how does Marvel's playboy billionaire and Hollywood's real-life multimillionaire make and spend his money? It's time to find out. Just make sure to stay to the end of this video as we explore Robert Downey's incredible lifestyle. But before we dive from the Iron Man style into how Downey Jr. spent his hard-earned cash, let's get a better idea of how he ended up acquiring such deep pockets in the first place. Thanks to all of his roles in the MCU, his earlier films plus investments in his own company, and a ton of various sponsorships, our favorite superhero has amassed a net worth of $300 million over the years. However, it wasn't always overflowing wallets, rocket boots, and money falling from the trees for Downey Jr. We sure know him from his Marvel character, but his resume is far more diverse. He had already starred in tons of TV and films like Ally McBeal, Game 6, Sherlock Holmes, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and Tropic Thunder. Prior to putting on the red and gold suit, however, Robert Downey Jr. was a very different person. He was born in Manhattan, New York, and well, to put it politely, he had messed up like a few times. He had found himself on the wrong side of the law, far more often than he would like to admit, ending up behind bars, in rehabilitation facilities, and as a centerpiece for the tabloids to rain fire down upon. When he was facing trial, the judge told him that he was manipulative and had exhausted the court's option and the court's patience. So they put him behind bars for 3 years in accounts of repeatedly violating probation. With all this craziness going on, Jr.'s career tanked massively in the early 2000s. At this point, he still had a hefty bank balance supporting him, but nowhere near the $300 million stash he's sitting on now. Alas, we all know a comeback was on the horizon, and it was going to be one of the biggest we had ever seen in the industry. When he landed the pivotal role as Tony Stark in the first Iron Man film, Robert Downey is said to have only pocketed around $500,000 from his role in the film. Due to his history, the studios considered him a risky hire, so they weren't prepared to throw the entire kitchen sink at him. Once he nailed the role, however, the sky was the limit. Thereafter came Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, the Avengers, and the rest of Marvel franchises and appearances. It was these roles and these massive contracts with Marvel Studios that truly stretched his net worth and propelled him to stardom. Heck, he made $75 million for Avengers Endgame alone. Now about that busting bank balance, what does he do with it all? Cars and houses, of course, but that's too obvious. Let's kick things off with the most Tony Stark expenditure there is. A life-sized remote-controlled Iron Man suit, which is worth a whopping $300,000. With a 6-foot Iron Man costume, which he bought as a reminder of his time as a character. And yes, the suit is even taller than Robert himself. The suit was designed by a master model maker named Greg Tanis, and while it doesn't shoot lasers, it still lights up and has a wide range of remote-controlled movements. Okay, so Downey didn't actually buy this for himself, despite how egotistical his character come across. It was his staff that purchased it for his birthday, but it's still a sizable chunk of his total assets. That's not the only souvenir that Robert Downey has from his time as Tony Stark. With a price tag of $4,000, our next purchase may not break the bank, but it's perhaps one of the most sentimental items that the Hollywood actor owns. We are talking about the capital letter A emblem from the Avengers film. You know the one we are talking about, right? It was the only letter that survived the attack on Stark Towers in the battle for New York City. As the story goes, Downey walked up to the studio executives and asked if he can take home the giant 30-foot tall A emblem. and stick it on one of his fancy paint houses. To his surprise, the next thing he knew was a truck pulling outside of his house with that infamous emblem strapped to the back. Luckily for him, his house was big enough to store it. His house, or should we say houses, are in fact big enough to store a lot of cars in as well. If you were worth hundreds of millions of dollars, what's the first car you will buy? Let us know in the comment section below. For Iron Man though, it's not just one car, but dozens of them. There is the Audi R8, which costs a whopping $169,000. You can see that same car in nearly every Iron Man movie as well. When he's not cruising around in that one, he's got the custom Boss 302 Mustang. While not everyone loves the khaki yellow paint job, they sure love the roar that the 5.0 liter V8 produces. That custom build that was actually made for the SEMA show in 2017 will have set him back a couple of $100,000. A similar price to the Ferrari California T that he owns. As if those weren't enough to choose from, his garage also features a $7 million Fisker Karma, which was one of the world's first production luxury plug-in hybrid electrical vehicles. Leonardo DiCaprio has one as well, in case you were wondering. Robert also boasts a Nissan GTR and a Mercedes S550, each worth over 100 grand. And thankfully, that's all of them. Nah, just kidding my friend. It's also been seen behind the wheel of another Audi R8 worth $116,000. It's not all selfish purchases though. Our beloved Iron Man decided to share the automotive love around. When he's not buying cars for himself, he's splurging on sets of wheels for his friend. Like this Captain America themed custom-built Camaro for his fellow superhero Captain America himself, aka Steve Rogers, aka Chris Evans. The sick car features a LS3 engine as well as a 2.9 Whirlpool supercharger and a steering wheel accented with a Captain America logo. It turns out that Robert Downey Jr. has quite an affinity for high-end watches. Can you blame him? When you are constantly in the world spotlight, you want to look your best, right? In the great actor's very own words, quote, "You can learn a lot about a man if you open up his jolly box." So why not take a quick peek inside our favorite superheroes box of bling? First off, we have got those Jaguar culture. Any guesses how much that timepiece is worth? Oh, just a lazy 92 grand, no biggie. For any die-hard Marvel fans out there, if the Jaguar culture seems a little bit familiar, it's because it appeared in Iron Man 2. When he gets bored of his 100,000 wrist accessory for a bit of variety, Downey can go for his far more affordable option, the Rolex GMT Master 2 Ghost Watch. With film after film after film, if you expect Robert to live close to all the Hollywood studios, you would be right. Take a look at this stunning Malibu Mansion, which set him back a solid $3.7 million. If you ask him, it's worth every penny. On the inside, the 3,384 square foot mansion features 3 bedrooms. But on the outside is where it really shines. It boasts a view over the Malibu Lagoon and a backyard with a pool, a hot tub, a fire pit, and a potting green. Sometimes the bright lights of Tinseltown can get a little overwhelming, and that's why Downey has a couple of quiet retreats away from the paparazzi-lined streets. When he's not in Malibu, you can find him kicking back in his $2.5 million Pacific Palisades home, which has 4 bedrooms and a ranch-style design with extra high hedges to keep the fans out. Sure, both of these houses are impressive, but they each pale in comparison to the $10.5 million windmill home in the Hamptons. Yep, that's an actual windmill, folks. It may be weird, but hey, will you expect anything less from this unique movie star? We sure wouldn't. However, it's not just spend for RDJ. Sometimes Junior invests his money. How? Through his own business. It's called Footprints Coalition, and it does exactly what you expect an Iron Man business to do. Use robotics and nanotechnology to clean up the planet. The scientist-led coalition was announced in 2019 and is set to officially launch at some stage in 2020. Since Robert wrote up more than a decade of filming for Marvel, he's decided to take the risk and put his money towards saving the world from an entirely different villain, climate change. Okay dokie, we spoke a lot about Rob's incredible car collection, but there's one particular ride that deserves a dedicated mention. This is the Acura NX concept car. Ordinarily, this go for around $157. However, this one is special. This particular NSX was purposely built and customized for the Iron Man 3 movie, and it cost a whopping $9 million. Next up, say hello to Iron Man's very own luxury sneaker collection. We have already seen that he's not afraid to splurge on watches, and that's the same case for his kicks. Just take a look at this gorgeous crystal Louboutin Louis Strauss sneakers, which he has been wearing on red carpets time and time again. This baby set him back a whopping $2,500. Amazing. Will you spend that much on shoes? We sure couldn't. But those aren't even the most intriguing shoes in his collection, nope. That will actually be his Givenchy wedge sneakers. It's not exactly a secret that Downey isn't the tallest of humans at just 5'9", but his charisma and ego certainly put him on a pedestal. That's why he's gone for these $2,000 wedges, which sported 2.5-inch sole. He loves this pair and even wore them to his very own 50th birthday party extravaganza. So this is how Robert Downey Jr. makes and spends his millions. Do you think Robert deserves this income? And what about him do you like or hate the most? Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to press the like button and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on awesome future celebrity network breakdowns like this. Thanks for watching this one. Catch you in the next.